Hey guys, how's it going? August 22nd. And it looks like we got some viewers tonight, so that's good. Let's see if we can hold that. It's 9:23 p.m. Just going to start things up. Not much on my forums. It's a little disappointing to say the least, but it is what it is. Trainsim got an interesting post, a very good post actually. So that's cool. And I certainly commented on that. That's for sure, because it was a very nicely done post. I liked it. And of course I used that to not hijack the thread, but agree with it, but then basically say, you know, I'm down to my last, I think this is my last ditch effort, really, honestly. There's not much else I can do. So, that being said, let's try to enjoy this hour. Why am I going on to somebody else's server? I'm hosting. Okay. Here we go. So, for those watching and wondering, the IP address, I posted this on my forum as well, is 174.95.218.9, and I am on the southeast A line, to be exact. You do not have to have Waycross. I'm not using Waycross, even though I like Waycross. It's like I said in the post on TrainSim, a lot of the stuff that I'm using now, or not using now, is just, you know, and don't get me wrong, I got my value a long time ago for most of it. Some of the more recent purchases was actually never used, some of it, or barely used, but overall value, this has lasted me 7 years, or at least 6 of those years I would say were pretty solid. Definitely 5 for sure. So I definitely got my value out of Run8 a long time ago. But the returns are starting to catch up or diminish compared to the amount of time that I continue to try to do something or wait for something. So in other words, I was way ahead a long time ago had I just quit or stopped and waited to see what happened. So that's what I'm trying to say. AMT, I gotta go in there? Yes I do. Okay. So I am hosting. I don't know if it's working. I don't know if anybody's trying. I will. Okay, Bill's here. Let's write this one back here. Well, golly, it actually works. So that's good. We've passed the first test. Wow, it's been a long time. This is the first time I posted this year. So that's cool. Well, perhaps I mean, I was on Smiley's server and everything's okay, so if I'm able to host, that's a good sign. Still, I want it more than just Scott and I. Just having it Scott and I, and Scott will be able to potentially host as well, but the whole idea that I'm thinking of, and I know a lot of people have different times, so that's okay. Just because you're not on the times that we like. Definitely need others. So if you guys are interested, I mean, both Scott and I, our interest levels have been fading. We started talking together, you know, saying like, we got to do something. We got to try something. We're trying, you know, different ideas, different suggestions. You know, we're just kind of brainstorming amongst us. And Scott tried running a server for a little while. It didn't really appeal to me just because it was too plain. I didn't want to dedicate myself or do anything. Similar case, I think, with Smiley. He has his server. It's kind of set up the way I liked it, at least the AI, but then it's just too big for my liking. There's too much going on. So this one is, you know, what we got right now is just the Sanford sub. So everything in this area, and I'm not talking about switching this area. The switching district only goes up to here somewhere, but this is the Sanford sub. Everything else is just spawning out and spawning back in, basically. So that's all that's for. Did I restore the switch? I think I did. It's starting to get a little dark in here. There we go. Oh, I know it's one of these lights. There we go. What the hell's that thing? I can't remember what these switches are for. Yeah, well. I don't know what that switch was, but maybe I should take a look at it. Oh, panel lights. Why does it look like the panel lights are already on? Weird. Okay. Oh, I know what that is. That's that. I have another one up here. I thought I had a flashlight, but that doesn't seem to be working. Ding dong. underground track if I have one. CHS, I don't know where the hell that is. Must be up ahead somewhere. Yeah, I knew VUL was that way, but I am facing the wrong way. I just transported myself to it. Kind of give myself an idea. Huh. So it looks like Q457's not quite ready yet. Rangyard won't be ready for another 16 hours. Looks like, well, most of them won't be ready for another 18 hours. I don't know what I got. Q457 still. The only one is yeah, just looking at the list here. 22 766 is close. 767. So yeah, you go through. So Q457. So it shows 784 has. So what happens is the hours that are left is before it turns over. So whereas Pecan Yard, it's already turned over, so that's not available. 766 is another one. Oops. That's what I get for chatting. Okay. Probably not. Yeah, if we can get more people. I'm not too sure. I mean, 2 people's not too bad for this. As a test, I'd be very curious to try it. Let's see where the next runaround point is. I'm not too sure. Does that have one? Did I miss it? No, I don't think so. Okay. So that doesn't have... wait, no, I thought that had a runaround point for a minute. Or does it? No, it doesn't. Alright, so I gotta find a runaround spot for it. I don't think I have one. If I did, it would have been way the hell back here. That would be it right there. How come it did that? Oh, that was dumb. Oh, it's been a while since I've done this. Remember, the emergency brakes involved. Actually, let me try it again. So I put it in an emergency. I think I put it in an emergency, it'll start the light will start flashing after a little bit and then I release it, if I'm not mistaken. If I did it right. Been too long. Had it in neutral, that's why. Let's try this again, shall we? I don't know why I had the damn air popped on here anyways. question is, do I want to bother with 776? Trying to remember how this played out. $784. $784 is, this is weird. $784. So 784 has been switched. So it's been done twice. That's interesting. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell that 776 is. From what I can see, that's on 755s. Oh, here comes the train. So 776, that's an interesting one. I'm just trying to remember what the hell. Okay, I do have it. So it hasn't been run. What's weird is I don't have a track for 776 to turn around either, so I assume I just have to bring it there. OSC. Oh, it's Orlando Utilities. Oh boy. Well, I know where that is. I don't really feel like running Orlando Utilities tonight, but that's interesting. $784, that's done. Okay. We've done that before. I'm not going to worry about that. The only thing I can think of at this point I go back over to Q457. Yeah, see, it's already got 776 stuff in there, so 755 is already... I don't know where 755 stuff is. Yeah, I must have already switched it, or it already was switched. Or was that the one I was just on? Maybe it was. Must have been. Or no, it was 799, which would be the far track. I don't know what was on 755. Must have already been run. Let me double check that. One other... No. Beats the hell out of me. I don't know what 755 was, because nothing came for 755. Okay, so... well, the next one I would have to look at would be Rand's Yard. So there's 3 intermediate yards. Rand's is the next one. Oops. 766. So that's already ran once as well. That's still another 15 hours away. $767, so that's Pecan. That's been run. Well, if that's the case, where's Pecan? Pecan Yard. I didn't see the switcher around in there. I think I missed it, but I don't remember seeing it. I saw the cars, but I don't know where the hell the engines are for it. So that's interesting. That's interesting. So the yard's been done at least once, but I can't find the switchers. So that would be 767. Lafarge, gypsum, and Veritas steel. So we got 1.8. So I'll I'm just trying to figure out if two of us can make a run for this or not. I don't want to be switching all the time, I know that. Which is fine. I mean, we're 12 hours away from... at least 12 hours away from the next... local that goes back, I should say. Just trying to remember how the times used to run on Q457 and Q458. Well, Well, that's good to know. See, I'm trying to figure out if I would get tired of it. I must have at some point. I'm just trying to play in with how for me, probably about the time I do. I mean, it's much better to have others as well, but doesn't need a hell of a lot, because everything's that this is the one good territory that I think could almost run the concept I was thinking of. And the concept I was looking at before was to try and run as much as possible, or at least to run the server as much as possible, having it available. The AI trains, of course, if nobody's dispatching, you gotta stop it. You gotta stop the trains at least. You don't have to stop the AI, you can keep the AI on, so that if somebody does join, then they get to run it. And then try to run that Q457 supply train once a day. So whoever is hosting would have to launch it at, say, around a typical time. It looks like it's going to be Q458 would go back about 8 o'clock in the... I think it would go back around 8 o'clock in the morning and be ready to leave Taft. It'll have enough cars. And then... I'm not too sure how it would work for crew changes. I'm beginning to wonder if I need another Q457. So Q458 goes back. It takes... I'm just thinking of crew changes. Because you're on 8 hours. It's not a turn. I forget how long it takes to run the train from one main to the other. And to switch, so it was probably one train on 8, off 8, on 8. No, that doesn't make sense. So you have 8 hours of rest to turn around. But then that doesn't make sense either. Have 8 hours of rest, 6 on. No, it still doesn't make sense. You almost have to, you'd have to run 2. So Q450, yeah, Q458 would be running, and the next Q457 would run later that morning, probably, or later in the day. So 458 could leave right away at the beginning. Q57, I don't know. I forget what times it would run at. I guess ideally a Q457 would be nice to run. Beats the hell out of me. Q457 run at night? Yeah, could. So Q457 would run from come out of Jacksonville. It actually comes out of Waycross. So if it comes through at about... No, 458 has to run before 457 because it has to empty those tracks out. So 458 would have to run whenever it was ready. Let's take a look at that. I'm just curious. So when you go into Control L, left Control L, and you look at Q457. I don't know why there's some 16s in there. I'm not too sure why they got thrown in, or they're a little bit longer. I'm not 100% sure why, but it looks to me as if something got screwed up. I don't know what. Center beam flat cars. I wonder if that has something to do with the industries. Shouldn't. But Acid tank cars. They all seem to be the same type of cars. It's really weird. But these are all in yard tracks. Oh, maybe by the time it got back. Because it was split up into two or something. So there's like 18 hours for Taft. Almost run light power right now. I don't know. 18 hours from now is 7 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. So 1 in the afternoon going the other way, whereas the other one wouldn't leave until the evening. That's interesting. Because that's the only disadvantage is you have to get the cars out of there to pick up to go back before you can bring cars back out, unless there's some that are ready from a switcher. So you got Pecan Yard. Pecan's the first one down here, and then there's everything from Pecan south to Taft. So I don't know how long that takes roughly, but it seems a little bit of a distance, but to get to the other side of Orlando, yeah. Halfway between Jacksonville and Orlando, I guess. Yeah, another northbound. So it seems to be a northbound night, but anyways, I'm not worried about that. So yeah, they would be. I'm not too sure how I had it envisioned, but to me, in order to have switchers ready, you'd have to get the northbound return train first to get the cars out before the southbound. Or you get the you gotta get the northbound and then maybe launch the southbound somewhere around by the time the northbound gets past. If that makes sense. So yeah, you gotta get the northbound out first. It has to lift the yards. It has to lift all the stuff going back to Waycross. So once the northbound has made its lift at Pecan, either that or the northbound's about to get to Pecan, the southbound could then approach. Even hold off at Tacoy or whatever, it doesn't matter. But just hold out until that lift is done, and then he can come in, make his drop. That might work. So the idea is, though, run one of the, so you'd have two mainline trains. You have one inbound and one out, one northbound, one southbound, at least work trains, and they could run daily. And they're always, because it's a 24-hour cycle, they would always be able to actually lift again the next day. I don't know if it's a 24-hour cycle. I forget what the heck I have it set up for. Let me just take a look. Since so no, I got it at 16. I got it at 16 hours. I think everything. I think I have everything set at 16. There's some at 12. Holy crap! I don't know what that A724 is. That's Waycross. Looks like I have everything set at 16. And there's a lot of stuff that was part of the Waycross thing in here. There's a lot of that's not even needed. I think I have everything turning around 16 passengers. That's Waycross again. Yeah. So the idea was I put it at 16 so that everything could run at 24. T10 Waycross, same thing. Taylor Farms, there's the issue right there. Is that train going through? Oh. Where the hell am I? Oh, I must be. Okay, never mind. I gotta change that. That's why everything's screwing up. That Taylor Farms thing. I just noticed that. I don't even know where Taylor Farms is. Oh, some can go 24, I don't care. Just means it takes longer. Nah, something else happened. Who knows? Okay. So, yeah, anyways, I gotta get going pretty soon. I'm getting tired. But, yeah, so if we're running, ideally I would love to be able to run 24/7. I'm not worried about the stop trains, because I've already saved it. Ideally I would love to run 24/7. This is why I was kind of looking for a 24/7 server that can do it. Because then you just keep running. If you have to stop the trains, there's no dispatcher. The through trains are just kind of eye candy, anyways. It's the Q457 and Q458 that's the important train, and the locals, of course. Everything else is just representing some traffic, make it interesting or somewhat realistic. But it really doesn't have a bearing if they're not running, because you can't do a schedule anyways, and there's no AI dispatcher, so. Those are two things that hopefully version 3 would address, but you never know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Hard to say. Easier said than done. So yeah, that's about it, really. That's about all I can think of. Well, the ping held off pretty good, so that's good to see. So the whole idea is like demand-based. People come on. The only any type of scheduling, and it's all based on what's available at what. If it's ready to go, it's ready to go. If it's not, it's not. So, and the yards are set up so that you set off the cars at the 3 intermediate yards. You set that train. Cool. That's the magic question. I don't know. I'm a little more optimistic that the server worked. And the other thing too is if you're, say for example, you wanted to run till 2 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason. Not saying that you would, but if you did, then I can just transfer the server over to you at that point. You can run it. Or if you want to run it the next day when I'm working, you can run the server. And if others want to join, they do. If not, so yeah, that's what that's part I like. It's the only one. I mean, yeah, I don't know which others ones we tried, or at least other ones that I got tired of. There was a lot of ones that I did for a while that I just got tired of. But it seemed like that there was constantly switching. This is the only one that I can think of that actually has enough intermediate yards to turn around trains. The others don't have those intermediate yards. I mean, LA does. It has some for some of those trains. Um, but LA has so much more too. This is one area that is easily isolated, so it actually helps. Whew. Mm. Okay, guys, I'm gonna call tonight. So, that's the dilemma we're at. It's just if it's just the two of us, we're bound to get tired of it, and then if it just gets two of us, and it just becomes old very quickly. If there's others around, then it gets at least more interesting, or it seems more valid. So. Okay, guys. Alrighty, so we'll end this here. I've already saved it. Alright, we'll end the stream.